What's up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing Disney's The Skyliner versus Busch Gardens Skyride.
Prince of Macedon here. Since I recently just re-rode both of these attractions, I just wanted to give a quick comparison of the two theme park Sky Gondola rides here in Florida. First, we have the Busch Gardens Skyride, manufactured by Swiss manufacturers Von Roll Holding in 1974, versus the Disney Skyliner, manufactured by Utah-based manufacturer Doppelmayr USA in 2019. Now, I won't go into the technical details of either ride since I'm not an engineer or anything, but I will say that the more modern Disney Skyliner is almost completely fully automated. The doors open and close automatically on each cabin, and the doors lock shut automatically as well. If the Disney ride operator needs to stop the cabins, they need only press a button. On the other hand, the Skyride cabins at Busch Gardens are straight from 1970s nostalgia, and they do require some manual labor to stop their forward progress. An employee is needed to lock the doors securely in place, and the cabins need an additional push from the employee to get them through the stations. Now, the first comparisons to make: everyone is free to ride the Disney Skyliner as long as they have access to one of the launch stations. It's absolutely free. After reopening in 2024, the Busch Gardens Skyride is only free to Busch Garden pass holders. Everybody else must pay a $5 fee to ride the Skyride one way. That's right, you will have to pay an additional $5 if you wish to ride the Skyride cabin back to its original starting point. Now, it comes to the number of stations. Disney Skyliner has 5 stations where you can embark and disembark. You got one near Epcot, then you have one near the Riviera Resort, then you have the one at the Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, and then you have the Disney Hollywood Studios, and then you have the one that takes you towards the Art of Animation and Disney Pop Century Resorts. Now, from the Epcot station to the Riviera Resort station, it's about 11 minutes of travel time. At the Caribbean Beach Resort station, you are forced to get off, and then you can pick between riding the Skyliner to Disney's Hollywood Studios, which is 5 minutes, or taking the other path that takes you to Pop Century Resort and the Art of Animation Resort, which is about a 4-minute trip. The Busch Gardens Skyride has 2 stations where you can embark and disembark, one in the Cheetah Hunt Plaza and the other one in Stanleyville. The travel time between the 2 stations is roughly 7 minutes. Let's talk about the second most important thing, the cabins. The Disney Skyliner cabins are absolutely massive and can hold 10 people per vehicle. They can even fit an electric scooter, which decreases the number of passengers to 6 people per cabin. Guests will then sit on a bench on either side of the cabin where they can ride forwards or backwards. If you have the cabin to yourself, then you will have a massive amount of legroom. The Busch Gardens Skyride can't have more than 3 passengers who are 56 inches or taller, so basically that is 3 adult-sized passengers per cabin. The cabin inside the Busch Gardens Skyride is very snug and very intimate. Let's talk about the most important thing, at least for me anyways, and that's the view. Up until this point, you probably thought I was praising Disney Skyliner, which I was, but the view is the weakest aspect of the Disney Skyliner. Most of the Disney cabins are covered in Disney art on the exterior. If they're not covered in Disney art, then there's probably a mesh around the windows, which makes it even harder to see out of. There's only a few cabins where the front and rear have a clear window to look through. Even then, the viewing window is relatively small, and more often than not, you'll get a cabin with the Disney art all over the windows, which makes it so hard to see out of and appreciate the views. It's in this category where Disney just overdid it here. They made cabins that look great on the outside, but for the passengers inside, it's more of an annoyance than anything else when you can't see clearly out of your cabin. I mean, you're up in the sky, but Disney doesn't give you a good view of what you're looking at. Note to Disney, make all the cabins clear. Most people don't care about the exterior Disney art. It's not like they can even look at it. And now we have the retro open cabins of Busch Gardens Skyride. There is absolutely no comparison here. The Busch Gardens Skyride cabins from Von Roll give you absolutely stunning views of the park. You're not traveling out of the park, you're traveling within the park. That's important to note because you're not looking at traffic on the street or a parking lot full of cars. You're looking at beautiful Busch Gardens Tampa with unobstructed views. Busch Gardens Skyride absolutely puts Disney Skyliner to shame in this particular category. And honestly, this is the only category that I actually care about. I, as a passenger, wants to look outside the cabin and see what I'm flying through. I mean, you put us in the air, so let us look around. The Busch Gardens Skyride is literally living history. This is the type of ride that I rode when I was a kid. I look at this ride and it takes me back to my childhood. In fact, Disney's Magic Kingdom had the Skyway, which was a similar ride as the Skyride, from 1971 to 1999, which was manufactured by none other than Von Roll Holding. Yes, the same people who made Busch Gardens Skyride. So if you missed Disney Skyway, don't worry, because Busch Gardens basically has the same ride right there in their own park. At this time in history, there are only 9 rides of this type left in the USA, and one of them is the Busch Gardens Skyride.
Having ridden both the Busch Gardens Skyride and the Disney Skyliner within a few days of each other, I have a pretty crystal clear view of how they both compare with each other. And it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges. Both accomplish different things. If you just want a beautiful view of a park up in the air, unobstructed, then definitely the open cabins of Busch Gardens Skyride is way superior to Disney Skyliner. But for an efficient transportation system in the air that takes you from hotel to park, then definitely the Skyliner is a lot more efficient and a lot more extensive. So yeah, I think the Disney Skyliner is a lot more for transportation's sake, whereas the Busch Gardens Skyride is a lot more for the views.